trying to get into marketing is weirdly confusing because the advice is always kind of same. Learn SEO, learn content, learn ads, learn analytics, learn email, learn AI, learn branding, learn everything. And the problem is when you try to learn everything, you usually end up with a lot of information, but not with a lot of real skill. The more I looked into it, the more I realized that getting hired in marketing is probably not about knowing the most terms. It's about building a practical stack of skills that actually makes you useful. So instead of trying to master all the marketing at once, I'm focusing on learning 7 marketing skills that I think that will make me more employable. But not because these are the only skills that matter, but because together they help you understand your customer, create better messaging, get attention, measure performance, and actually prove that you can do the work. And the last part matters the most because knowing marketing is one thing and showing it is another. One thing that I have noticed that a lot of aspiring marketers consume a lot of marketing content, speaking from personal experience of course, but they are not really building real skill stack. And those are two very different things. So this video is not the only 7 skills that matters. It is the 7 skills that I am prioritizing because they feel practical, connected, and useful in real marketing work. I picked these 7 because in my opinion, they cover the full flow in modern marketing. Messaging, content, discovery, measurement, acquisition, retention, and of course, leverage. More importantly, these are skills that you can practice and show through real work. So let's start with the one that probably affects everything else. The first skill I'm learning is copywriting because marketing is mostly communication. If you cannot write a clear headline, a good CTA, a strong landing page message, or a useful email, everything else gets weaker. I think a lot of beginners confuse writing with copywriting. Okay, let me phrase it this way. Writing sounds nice, but a good copy actually moves someone. That's why I'm focusing less on sounding clever and more on learning how to communicate value clearly. Some practical examples of copywriting would be writing the copy for landing pages, some ad angles, subject lines for emails, but good messaging alone is not enough. You also need to turn ideas into actual content. So the second skill that I am learning is content marketing. And I don't mean just posting online. I mean learning how to turn an idea into content that actually serves a purpose. A lot of people make content, but it goes nowhere exactly because I believe they focus on creation and ignore distribution, strategy, and outcomes. I want to get better at not just making content, but making content that is actually useful, positioned well, and connected to a real goal. A practical example for content marketing would be one pillar piece cut into short clips. For instance, this video, I will chop it up into short clips and I will repurpose them for TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, everywhere. Not only that, I will also turn this into a blog post. So for me, this would be a perfect example for a quite good distribution plan. There is a lot to learn when it comes to distribution, and I am all in for that. Once you create content, the next question is, how do people actually find it? And that leads into SEO, or more specifically, understanding the search intent. What I'm realizing is that SEO is not about stuffing all the keywords. It is about understanding what a person is actually looking for and building the right page for that exact intent. A lot of beginners learn keyword tools before they understand search intent, and that leads to creating very weak content. My personal take on it is I want to learn SEO because it teaches demand. I believe it forces you to think about what people already want, not just what you want to say. A great place to start learning about search intent is understanding content cluster and playing with the search consoles. But traffic alone does not tell you much unless you can measure what is actually working. The fourth skill that I am learning is analytics. analytics. And trust me, it's quite a handful. Because without analytics, marketing is just a guesswork. And I think this is where a lot of beginners get stuck. They open Google Analytics 4 or dashboards, see a lot of numbers, and still don't know what any of it means. Having data is not the same as knowing what decision the data should drive. Personally, I really want to get better at tracking the right things, read patterns, and turning numbers into actual decisions. A practical example for learning analytics would be having a proper measurement plan, going through the dashboards on a weekly basis, one metric at a time, and storing weekly insights about those metrics on a weekly basis, and noting down weekly insights on how those metric changes. Once you can measure, you start seeing why paid acquisition is such a valuable skill to learn. Now we are shifting from the creative side of the work to the business side of the work. So the fifth skill that I am learning is paid ads fundamentals. Not because I think I need to become a top tier media buyer immediately, but because paid ads teaches performance thinking very fast. In my opinion, a lot of beginners think ads are just setting up a lot of campaigns, but the real challenge is tracking, testing, creatives, landing pages, and not wasting a ton of money. What I like about paid ads is that they force feedback. You test something and the market responds, and it teaches you very quickly that button pushing is not a real strategy. Practical example for learning paid marketing would be running small budget experiments on your content, creative test notes, noting down which creatives are working, tweaking landing pages, landing page changes by observing click-through rates and bounce-off rates, and last but not the least, testing a lot of reporting templates. But getting attention is only one part of marketing. But keeping people engaged, now that's a whole another monster. The sixth skill that I am learning is CRM and email marketing. I feel like beginners often ignore this because retention sounds less exciting than growth. But real marketing is not just about getting more people in. It is also about what happens after. An email sounds very simple until you run into spam, segmentation, workflow logic, and a lot of messy lists. Personally, I want to learn how to nurture attention, but not just to chase it. A lot of boring stuff in marketing are the stuff that actually matters. Practical learning plan for CRM and email marketing would be learning about welcome flow, nurture flow, re-engagement sequences, segmentation logic. I believe once all these fundamentals are in place, then AI becomes much more useful. The seventh skill that I'm learning is AI and automation. But I see this as a leverage layer, not a replacement for fundamentals. These days, AI is being overhyped, also being used to speed up bad thinking, and that usually creates bad, generic work faster. What I am more interested is in using AI to improve workflows, research faster, repurpose better, automate repetitive tasks, and save time without lowering quality, of course. I believe AI is very powerful, but it should not remove the need for judgment. A quick practical learning plan for AI and automations would be learning about research workflows, content repurposing systems, lead enrichment automations, and simple Q&A chatbots. And this is where the whole stack starts to connect. The biggest thing that I am realizing is that these skills are not separate. Copy improves content, content feeds SEO, analytics tells you what is working, paid ads sharpen testing, emails improves retention, and AI helps you execute faster. The real value is not in learning random marketing topics. It is in building a connected system of skills. And just to be clear, I don't think learning these 7 skills automatically gets anyone hired, but I do think they make you more employable because they help you become someone who can actually contribute. And that matters more than just saying, I am interested in marketing. Right now, my goal is not to learn every marketing topic on the internet. My goal is to build a practical skill stack, create proof that I can use it, and become genuinely useful. If you are also trying to break into marketing, comment with which of these 7 skills confuses you value the most. So this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Till then, peace.